If you didn't have time to go through the first two parts as I go analyze game by game of Peyton Manning's career, I would just watch this one, because what I'll do is I'll make this one a shorter one where I summarize everything I've said till now, but very short, very brief. And I've just been trying to demonstrate that Peyton Manning, wait, now the sun, by the way, is going through the trees. The low tech even became lower because I'm beginning to squint as the sun's making it through these trees. I'm wearing the hoodie, by the way, a lot of Manning's games were in the playoffs, were in the cold, and but I'm in the sun also, and nice trees in the background. I don't know if that's helping the slow tech, because when I turn like that, the trees turn. This might be tough on the eyes, very low tech, but at least you get some trees. You get the sky over there, see the sky, and it's again, low tech performance, but we got some very straightforward analysis about Peyton Manning, and you have to come to the conclusion that early in his career, his performance has dropped considerably. He's 6-6. He started out his career 0-3 with some really bad losses, 41-0 to the Jets. He loses to Tennessee as a favorite at home. He lost to Miami, in Miami, with not against a very great Miami defense. His individual performance not good. He did have a couple of victories there where he beat Denver 41-10, 49 in one game. There was one game he didn't even punt against Kansas City, where Peyton Manning's led offense never punted as they beat Kansas City in Kansas City, a tough place to play. So he did have 3 good playoff victories, but he's had 6 bad losses, including 2 to New England, in New England, whereas 2 of his most terrible games of his career, Bill Belichick confounding him. They win 24-14, and one of them 20-3. In the year that he throws for 49 touchdowns, he did nothing. Peyton Manning did nothing in a championship game in New England in the 2004 season. So now he was 3-6. He comes into the season. Indy this time plays enough to get home field throughout if they have to play New England. And as we went through on part 2, he doesn't have such a great performance against Kansas City in the playoff game. Wins 23-8, threw 3 interceptions. They threw 3 interceptions to Ty Law. Ty Law got him 3 times that game, if I recall. Yes, I now recall. And again, it wasn't that great a performance. He wasn't that great against Baltimore, but he did have some good elements we talked about. We gave him a B+ because he got the victory and did have a nice 7-minute drive at the end to seal that game. He only scored 15 points in the game, and Steve McNair, really the Indy defense rose to the occasion for that playoffs. They had not been good during the regular season, and Indy's defense came to the rescue and played solid throughout that playoff run. So that's really who won that game. Manning was good in that game. We'll give him a B+. And then, of course, the A+ performance. Peyton Manning finally beating his nemesis, the New England Patriots. He had a terrible first half, and it looked bad, so you got to give him credit. Down 21-3, then he scores a field goal before the half, comes all the way back, wins 38-34. He did have a moment there where he did not get, where he gave the ball back to New England, with New England a chance to finish the game on a 3rd and 5, but Troy Brown didn't come up with the ball. It was just off on that, which would have sealed the game for New England. Indy gets the ball back, and this time they come all the way down the field, score the touchdown. You got to give Peyton Manning an A+ there, 38-34 victory, which sends him to the Super Bowl. Now, I just want to talk in general. Again, we're rating his individual performance. I don't care how bad the Indy team was. I'm not blaming him for the losses. Indy defense was terrible. If Peyton Manning would have played for Bill Belichick, he might have 4 or 5 Super Bowl rings. So I am not saying whether because he doesn't have rings, he's a terrible performer. Rings depends on you get lucky enough to play for Bill Belichick instead of having to play for Tony Dungy, a very overrated coach. Nice coach, good coach, but overrated. And if you have a defense, that helps. Tom Brady won 3 Super Bowls, 36, 38, and 39, because he had a defense there. Defense was the main focal point of the team. Tom Brady was not, they didn't ask Brady to do much at that time. We did see later in his career Brady could do it if asked to do it, but he did not have to do much. Defenses and intangibles. Check out my New England playoff preview for this year, SALT production, where I talk about New England, how they got it done through the years. But now Indy is getting it done through defense, and they're playing good defense here, but I'm rating Peyton Manning from his individual performance. How did he do? And now let's go to Super Bowl 41 in rainy Florida. And how do you rate that? I don't know. I don't think he did much in that Super Bowl. It wasn't terrible. He starts off with a pick. Again, when you start off with a pick, it could go downhill from there. I mean, Devin Devin, what's that guy? Devin with the great punt returner opens the game with a 100-yard return, and then a pick by Manning led to a field goal. So they're down 10-0 early, but slowly they chip away. Manning does hit Reggie Wayne on a touchdown, a nice touchdown throw. They come down and get a bunch of field goals. This is a game, I would say, what Peyton Manning had to do is make sure, just wait for Rex Grossman to implode. That would be his job. And Rex Grossman did implode. And again, the Indianapolis defense played very good. Somehow, through this, as bad as they were during the regular season, they were fantastic come playoff time. And again, I'm going to give Peyton Manning a B, because he didn't have to do much. And he didn't do much, but he didn't mess it up. He was okay at times in that game. It was a wet ball. They just, they had a good running game in that game. They ran effectively, and he did what he had to. Give him a B+. Again, not an A performance, not a C performance. So at this point, he's now 7-6, but he's got a Super Bowl ring. That's what everybody said. Because he's got the Super Bowl ring, he is no longer the choke artist that we once knew him to be. I don't know if I would say that. I never did call him a choke artist. Even when he was losing, I would say his performances dropped considerably come playoff time. You cannot deny that. I mean, at least I feel you can't deny it. I've argued that with many. There's something about it. And because of that, by the way, if I had to rate all-time quarterbacks, I put Tom Brady ahead of Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's the best regular season quarterback of all time, but I would rate Tom Brady ahead because of how much significance and stock I put into how you play in the playoff time. And there, Tom Brady plays better than Peyton Manning. Now, as pointed out by Mike Francesa many times, every quarterback, even Joe Montana, has had terrible playoff performances. I mean, Joe Montana lost 49-3 to the Giants. He got smacked around in that game. Jim Burt knocked him out with a concussion. As a matter of fact, he got knocked out twice by the Giants with concussions. Leonard Marshall, championship game, 1990, the famous 15-13, my favorite game of all time, where the Giants win on 5 field goals. They only gave up 13 points to Montana, and they knocked him out. Leonard Marshall, the final blow in his back. And they had to bring in Steve Young at that point. So Montana's had terrible performance against the Giants. Montana, we remember his 4 great Super Bowls where he never threw an interception, although one of them, against Cincinnati, should have been picked in the early stages of the fourth quarter before the greatest drive in Super Bowl history, where he takes them back, where he goes 92 yards in the last few minutes and hits John Taylor for the touchdown. He did throw earlier in that fourth quarter something that should have been picked. So Montana's had his struggles playoff time as well. There's no quarterback that doesn't struggle, especially when you're playing better defenses in the playoffs. And you're bound to have some bad spurts, bad amounts of times in some playoff games. But let's face it, Peyton Manning, I already demonstrated that he's 7-6. He's had a bunch of Fs, and we're going to keep going on. You'll see, even when he wins the Super Bowl, you think the pressure's off. Well, no, because he starts having, again, subpar performances in the Super Bowl. He continues to have subpar performances in the Super Bowl. And now people are saying, when's he going to win a second one? Because I think deep down they realize there's something amiss here when he hits playoff time. And we will continue that. And we will go through his next games are against San Diego. We will continue. We'll have a part 4, maybe even we have to have a part 5. We got to go through 25 games. But you're getting some solid, straightforward analysis as we rate every game detailed. We don't just say he's bad, subpar. And here comes a truck. Here comes that truck. But subpar performances continue as we will go to continue our S.A.L.T. Productions on Peyton Manning.